I am kicking off this week's update video with something very exciting. I have finally started on the upper rock wall slash roof of the cavern. I know a lot of people have had questions and there's been some confusion surrounding what I'm going to be doing up here. I think there are quite a few people who up until recently didn't even realize there was going to be a roof on here and more rock work up above, and I don't blame you guys. Really, up until yesterday I had no clear plan of what was going to happen up here. And so I decided to sit down, buckle down. I'd gotten that building mostly done. This building was all done. So I figured it's time to get started on this if I really want to be able to finish in the timetable that I've set for myself. So let me show you guys what's going on here. Basically, I'm just going to be laying down a bunch of plate, and I kind of created a bridge right here of plate, and then I put brick on top of that. And I'm just going to do what I did down here, but up here. So basically we're starting over with the rock work. It's not going to be very high up here in the back. Really, I just need enough brick right here that I can create a little bridge right here so I can hang something black right here to kind of cover up this back hole. So back here is not going to be super high. Where most of the building and action is going to be happening is up here on this front wall, because I want it to look like this, but up here, because Utapau is like a city carved into the cliffside inside these caverns and caves. So that's what I'm going to be trying to depict with this. On this front side, I've kind of been doing something similar to here of laying down plate with brick on top, but I do have a decline here in the plate. You can see each 6x8 plate is scooted back 1 or 2 plates, and I'm doing this to kind of create this rough curved pattern. It's not going to look exactly like this, which is okay because they're so far apart. As long as this looks curved and that looks curved, you won't really be able to tell that they don't match up stud for stud. And I think, when building something in nature like this, it's not going to match up exactly correct. So I think as long as I can get the general curvature down, I think it'll look okay. So you guys can see it's really rough right now just because the plate's laid down. But once I put more sloped pieces and wedge plates and inverted slopes and stuff, I think it'll smooth out and start to look a little bit better. The real challenge I'm starting to discover, and what I kind of already suspected with this front, is going to be doing this underside right here on the very front, because I can't just leave it flat like this, because I think that'll look stupid and it wouldn't be very accurate to the entrance of a cave, because you can see right here you've got a little bit of slope, like it's not just a flat plate and then cliff. I'm kind of trying to create somewhat of a lip right here, so at least looks like it kind of curves down into the cave, if that makes sense. So I'm using a lot of inverted slopes and a lot of plate pieces just to create some kind of like inverted slope basically. And I think it's turning out okay so far. It obviously looks pretty rough because I've never ever done something like this before. So let me know down in the comments if you have any solutions or any other ways I can make this underside look, more sloped and less flat. I'm not going to be carrying it all the way back. I just need to get it far enough in so that, as I'm filming the finale like this, you can see the edge right here is curved and not just flat. I am running into a little bit of trouble right here. You can see this section does not look very good. And that's because I'm just trying to figure out different techniques for creating slopes, because I don't just want to have a bunch of inverted slopes lined up next to each other. I think that'll look kind of boring. So I'm playing around with different pieces and different techniques. So this is kind of just a drawing board right now. This is not what it's going to look like in its final state. And while we're over here by the arch, you can see I finished up piping area. I got this center vent piece all the way in, and I got these pipes in and connected. I haven't finished this side yet. These ones are just kind of jutting off into space, so I need to cut those down and put those in place. But I'm very happy with how this looks. It's a very clean look, and I feel like it adds a lot of detail to the front of the pillar. And I do have the rock work kind of jutting down in between the pipes. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep that yet or not. I also want to show you guys why I kept so much of this flat right here towards the top of the rock work. And that's because I wasn't really sure how the roof was going to connect to the rock work, because I wanted it to be kind of a gradual slope. Because if you look at a cave, right, it doesn't meet at a 90-degree angle. There's a little bit of a slope. And so that's what I wanted to create with these inverted slopes. What I did was took 2 inverted slopes and then used some of those half pegs and stuck them in the bottom, and then stuck a cheese slope on the bottom of that. And you basically have somewhat of a stalactite that I can stick on the roof right here, and then it'll slope down onto the wall, effectively covering up a lot of this flat area and giving it more of a sloped look. So I'm very happy with how that's turning out, and hopefully now it makes more sense as to why so much of this top part was just flat for a while. I also did the same technique right here on the edge of the mock. You're going to be seeing that technique used very heavily along this front side of the mock as well, because it allows me to use these inverted slopes and mix up the angle and mix up the shape instead of, just making a bunch of these. So if you're looking for a way to create some kind of like inverted slope or stalactite, I would definitely recommend that. It does leave a little bit of a gap between the inverted slope and the cheese slope, but I think in the grand scheme of things, it's still going to look all right, especially from a distance. Unfortunately, I did have to halt progress because I'm completely out of dark tan 2x4 and completely out of 2x4 filler brick, but luckily that changed today as that massive package came. So what I'm going to do next is open it up and show you guys what I got. At first glance, this may look like a very odd haul for Utapau. I've got a lot of dark purple or purple 2x4 brick, as well as a lot of lime green and some blue. The reasons for the weird colors is this is just what was cheapest in bulk. I always go with the cheapest color because I don't really care what it looks like, and that's what they had. I've got a bunch of random pieces in here. We've got some dark tan tile, dark tan plate, some dark orange stuff, and some black pieces for crab droids. But this right here is what I was waiting for. We got, I think it was like 300 dark tan 2x4s, and then like 100 and something dark tan 2x2s. So this will give us ample ammunition to continue working on Utapau. My goal for this week is to have this entire front row finished. Hopefully to about that high. That would be really nice. I'm not sure how high I'm going to be going in total. I'm just going to have to build and just see how it looks as I go. Really, I just need it high enough to where as I'm filming the finale or as you're looking at it, you can't see behind this rock wall to the back wall over there. So wherever that is, I'll see when I come to it. That's pretty much everything I have to update you guys with. I'm going to start building, and when I've got more to update you with, I'll check back in. All right, guys, I just had a major breakthrough while working on Utapau, and I'm super excited to show you guys what it is. But first, I want to show you guys the progress I made on today's live stream. So I got a bunch of the rock work done. And while working on the live stream today, I realized I need to amend kind of my goal for this update, because at first I said I wanted to have this entire front area kind of covered, at least up to right there. But I remembered when doing rock work, I like to focus on it one section at a time. So while building the bottom, that side and that back side, and now up here as well, I haven't been building it in rows. You know what I mean? You build the whole first row, then second row, third row. I've been building it in kind of smaller sections. And the reason I do this is because I like to kind of pick and choose certain techniques, like let's say cracks or kind of flat parts right here, slope parts right here, and I'll build a section, and then as I move forward and figure out like, okay, what kind of techniques and what kind of like placement looks good for rock work, then I can kind of just take inspiration and not copy it exactly, but kind of copy the general technique and inspiration, and then I can go through the rest of the mock much quicker instead of trying to figure out like each row, like, okay, now I got to get a technique, build half, like let's say you're building a crack, right? If I was to build one row at a time, I would slowly build this crack one row at a time while having to go across that entire length. But here I was able to build a small section, put that crack in the rock right there, see if it looks good, tweak it a little bit, change it. And now moving forward, I can look back to this kind of like template section and be like, okay, I want to copy this technique, or that technique. So if you guys are ever working on rock work, large areas of rock work in the future, I would highly recommend taking this approach, as it gives you time to kind of play around with certain techniques. And then once you kind of have a good idea of what you want your rock work to look like, then you can just plow through the rest of it instead of building, then taking apart, then building the entire thing again. I've also been experimenting with putting bricks on the face of the mock, kind of like this, using these little bricks with a stud on the side. This is kind of cool. It adds a little bit of extra detail and helps me use up some extra pieces, because I'm getting towards the end of Utapau right now, so I'm trying to clear out a lot of these bins that I haven't been really using for the rest of the mock, like these pieces right here. I think they'll work really good as kind of like front rock pieces like that. And then I've got a 2x3 slope piece right in here. Can't really take that off apparently without breaking it, but same principle as that. So you'll probably be seeing that sprinkled out throughout the mock more often. Now it's time to show you guys why I was so excited when I started this update. So a problem I've been dealing with since starting this upper rock work is trying to figure out like what the lip or kind of bottom of this rock work is going to look like, because down here it's pretty easy. You just put a bunch of slopes on, some plate, some tile, you kind of create a little bit of a curve right there, because the entrance to a cave is going to be weathered by rain, wind, water, you name it. It's not going to be completely flat like a 90-degree angle. So I've been using a lot of these inverted slopes, and I think I did show you guys like some basic techniques that I've been using, kind of like putting these half pegs into bricks like this, and then sticking a cheese slope on top of that. So that's been working for me pretty well. But I just took it another step further tonight when I realized I can actually put brick down back behind these inverted slope pieces, and then I can connect whole sections of these little slope pieces to the mock like this. Because the thing I don't like about using this technique is you can see a little bit of that half peg right there because it's not a seamless fit. You can even see it right there. But if I do the connection at the back of the slope instead of the front, that allows me to get a much more seamless fit. And you can see that looks much better than if I had the half pegs in the front. I can't do that in every situation, but I probably am going to switch a lot of these just because these ones that are in the front, you can kind of see that. So I'm very happy that I was able to figure this out because now I can create a much more curved entrance into the inner cavern. You can see as you step back and kind of look at it as a whole, it looks really good. Like it looks like a natural entrance into a cavern. So I'm very happy I was able to figure that out. Also, I had this entire bin of slopes that I was afraid I was never going to get to use. Now I can use up this entire bin of pieces I thought I was going to be wasting, as well as making the underside of this rockwork look much better. I am going to keep the plate like this in some areas just because I think it'll be cool, and I think it's important to mix it up, that way it's not just slopes. Anyways, that's all I wanted to show you guys. I'm going to keep grinding, and when I've got more to show you, I'll come back in with another update. All right guys, I am checking in with one last update for the week. Sorry I did not get this all cleared off like I usually do. I'm actually going to be streaming tomorrow morning, so I might as well just leave everything out because I'm going to continue working on the rock work. But I did get a little bit more progress done. You can see just more rock work. I threw in another crack, and I'm just slowly working down the line. I did make some changes on the back side of the wall. So you can see there's a big hole in this back side now, and that makes it easier to get in here and like mess with the lights and stuff. But I'm also running really low on dark tan 2x4, and I'm running out of stores that have it in large quantities in the US. So I'm trying to make the most of what I have. So I cleared out some space right here and took those bricks, and then I made a smaller hole over here. It didn't save me a whole lot of bricks, but I'm getting really close to being done here, so I honestly don't need a ton more. I'm thinking this is probably going to be the final height for the top of the rockwork. So it's not going to be super tall. It's not going to be completely flat. I'm going to have like a fading technique. So this whole back part right here should be done. So I really only need to build that back side and then a little bridge running right over there. Anyways, guys, I'm happy with the progress that was made, and this is the second to last update. So if all goes to plan, next Sunday should be my final update. All that being said, time to go hit the outro. I hope you guys enjoyed this week of building Utapau. This is a little bit of a different setup than I normally use for my outros, and that's because my room is just so crowded and cluttered right now, and my camera is actually set up to stream. Didn't want to switch it over, and honestly, I'm just having a lot of technical difficulties today, so I just decided to just set it up like this and just get it done, and however it looks is, what we get. I'm very happy with this week because I laid the groundworks for a great week this coming week, because I was able to get a lot of this rock work figured out, a lot of the back wall figured out. I was able to solidify a lot of things in my head that I wasn't really sure how I was going to do. So this next week, I'm just going to be able to plow through everything and hopefully be done, because next Utapau update is going to be the final one before the finale, which is crazy considering you can see behind me what it looks like. So I've got a lot of work to do, but I think I can handle it. As always, don't forget to let me know what you thought about this update down below in the comments. And if you like this video, don't forget to leave me a big like. And if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing so you won't miss out on any future content. But until next time, happy building.